Welcome back, YouTube. It's Jay Roebuck, and we have a highly anticipated video. You all asked, so I must deliver. We are going to talk about Drake Iceman Episode 4. We're going to get into all the theories, all the connections. We're going to talk about why this episode will happen, when it's going to happen, what we're going to see, what we're going to hear, and how this will connect to the album, and when we're going to get a release date, because I think I might know something. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, stick around to the end of the video, because if you miss one detail, you could miss the entire story. Merch is available. Join the community. There's lots of great things happening. Free t-shirts are available for all the people who are paid members. So I won't wait any longer. We got a long video, Drake Iceman Episode 4. Let's get into it. Now, before we talk about where we're going, we have to look at where we've been. Iceman Episode 1, Drake really embodied the character for the first time. We saw him clock into work, in the costume, in character, and he took us down memory lane. He took us to where he started from, showing real footage, to where he's been, and finally where he's at now with the song What Did I Miss? The song reruns you through the past year. All the people who turned on him, the public perception of him changed. And he asked the question, how did I miss all of these things coming? How did I miss what I was going to go through? And how was I not aware? And how was I friends with these people who turned their back on me so easily? Now, in this, we also heard some freestyles, and we also heard the beat for Which One. He drives the truck through Toronto. Remember, live streamed in the city that he's from. Keep that in mind. Now contrast that to Iceman Episode 2, which takes place in the UK, right? Some of the areas were in London. He shut this building down. He meets with Central C. Central C delivers him a bag, and they say, you've been missing, and they found a truck, but it was empty. This bag, I believe, represents his legacy, his masters, all of his work, all the information that he's compiled over the years that are a part of this story. And at the end of Iceman Episode 2, we see Pinocchio follow him, and this is the beginning of a longer story which plays out in Iceman Episode 3. In Iceman Episode 3, Drake receives some secret information, he drives through, he meets what I believe could be the inside woman, and eventually an inside man, and we get the song with Yeet. We get a lot of different scenes here. We get the most storytelling in Episode 3. Not only do we get the most storytelling in Episode 3, we got the most music. Now, on the surface, anyone who watched this episode could have just said, oh, I didn't like all the dead time. I didn't like all the scene changes. I just wanted to get to the music. The beautiful thing about each of these episodes in this rollout is that you have to think a layer deeper. You can't just take it in on a surface level and sit there and say, oh, this is good. Oh, this is bad. You have to think, and you have to search for connections. That's why when a lot of people have been dissecting this, and specifically the mainstream media, they haven't done a good job of doing the research. And that's lazy journalism. It's important to remember each detail from Episode 1 to Episode 3, the things that were said, the images that appeared, the colors that appeared, the bag that was the same in Episode 2 and 3 that played a very important role. If you remember the last frame of Episode 3, the bag that Central C gave him is what Drake was holding. Now that could represent legacy, that could represent music, that could represent the information. This can represent that Drake set the trap, right? We saw these Pinocchios come into play. All of these things are very important to take note of. Drake can't tell us what's going on in a lawsuit. The lawyers have to do that in the courtroom. But what he can do is tell us his story through the music and through the episodes. All of these things are representations of something. Now, how do we even know that Episode 4 is on the way? There's a lot of signs that tell me this episode will happen for sure. Let's go through them. Drake wrapped up the European leg of his tour yesterday. Very important to note. It's extremely hard to plan something of this level and of this magnitude when you're in a foreign country. Look at each of the buildings and the historical sites that he used. That requires permits. That requires a language barrier. That requires multiple cameras and people to operate these things. You have to shut down blocks of the city in order to make this happen. So pulling off all of these episodes, specifically Episode 2 and 3, have been extremely difficult. Now that Drake is off tour, it gives him the ability to sit down and focus and plan out the best episode yet. Another reason why we know that we're going to get another episode is that the story is not complete. We ended episode 3 on like a cliffhanger. Where's the fourth Pinocchio? What is in the bag? And what are you doing, bro? He has to answer a lot more questions. Who is the inside man in the room? When Drake walks in there, he looks up. He's speaking directly or communicating directly with one person. Who was the inside woman that he was hugging in the room? A lot of people say she resembles Sophia Rich, which I buy into. But what was the significance of it? Music leaked. There's been a number of leaks over the past week. We have National Treasure. We have The Tower, Skies Parted, Pompano Freestyle. And I even heard that the plot twist song that leaked last year is going to be included in this some way. He may have rewritten the verse, he may have gotten rid of the feature, but this was a song that a lot of people asked for, and I believe it may be implemented in one of these upcoming episodes. We also have the color theory. That's still there. It's confirmed. Green, blue, red, it happened. But there's another theory that I'm going to touch on at the end of this video that we may be getting another color. It could be yellow, it could be white, or last episode was a combination of yellow and red. We'll get into that. We also have to look at Ben Dorado's recent post. This is Drake's creative director, and he's been teasing a lot of things, and we're going to take a look at those as well. So all those signs tell me we're definitely getting episode 4. We might be getting episode 5 and 6 as well. The reason why I say we're going to get between 4 and 6 episodes is because what I believe Drake is doing is putting on an opera. Now, an opera is just storytelling, theater, and music combined, right? We don't have to think too complex. Just because it says opera doesn't mean it's the most fanciest hard thing to do in the world, right? It's just a combination of those 3 elements, which he has easily done. And in episode 3, the places that he chose to shoot were done specifically. And one of them was done at the Teatro Girolamo. I hope I said that right. I don't know. I'm not Italian. And he chose this location specifically. And one of the most famous plays that they put on there is actually Pinocchio. Again, they didn't go all the way to Italy for this tour and pick random places. They picked things that aligned. Now, an opera is typically between 4 to 6 acts. Now, if you looked at what Drake posted on his Instagram, he posted a famous opera singer named Handel. Out of all the things to post, out of all the people to post, why are you posting things that connect to Iceman episode 3? Because all of this is done on purpose. It's an act. It is a show that he is putting on for the entire world. It is old-time theater brought in with new technology, and he's delivering it to you via live stream. So enough about what I've learned from episode 1, 2, and 3. You guys want to hear the prediction, so I will give it to you. The first thing I want to talk about is location. Now, depending on how many episodes you get, how much more of this story does he have to tell, I believe we are going to see maybe 1 to 2 more locations. And I believe those locations will be out of these 3 places. It will either be Toronto, back home, where the story all began. It will be Texas, where Drake calls his new home, right? He's a resident of Texas, right outside of Houston. Or it will be in Los Angeles. Those 3 locations will be used for sure. Now, it could be Los Angeles because this is where all of these meetings took place. If you believe in all the symbolism, all of those secret meetings with the word legacy written out between the heads of Interscope and UMG, that would have taken place in Los Angeles. So if he's really telling us that story, what better place to take us than to where it started? What else is in Los Angeles? Well, that's where Kendrick Lamar is from. And a lot of this story has to do with Kendrick. Kendrick is not the main guy who he's talking about, but I believe that Kendrick is represented by one of these Pinocchios. So LA would be an ideal place. You would also go back to Texas because that's the place where you reside. That's where you feel comfortable now. That's where your team can get together and put on the best episode. Or Toronto if you want to start off or end off where you began at. This is the place where you really call home. That's home base for you. And you could definitely put on one of the best episodes there because that's where you have the most pull. Those 3 locations can tell the story the best. Those 3 locations he would have the most control. And those 3 locations will allow him to connect to what happened a year ago. Remember, he cannot tell you explicitly what he has, but he can show you through storytelling. Another thing that's going to happen in episode 4. We are finally gonna learn what's in the bag, right? You're walking around with the bag in episode 2, episode 3. What's in the bag, bro? It's time to reveal. Is it just you're going to symbolize the information that you've held on to? Is this your legacy in the bag? Is this what you know, one of the USBs that you say you have in the safe? It's time to reveal it. And I think we're going to get that in episode 4. And I think episode 4 will be the best episode yet. Another answer we're going to get. Where is the fourth Pinocchio and who is the fourth Pinocchio? I believe now that Drake has walked them into his trap, he is going to make them reveal themselves. And that fourth Pinocchio who is running outside, I believe is a representation of the person Drake has on the inside. If you remember, he is constantly talking about having lines tapped or double encryption or knowing employees at UMG who were fired or let go during the battle because they sided with him. These are things that he's alleged, that there are whistleblowers. And I believe that that is what was symbolized with the fourth Pinocchio and the inside man in the room. I believe it's time that he provides us with some of these answers. And I think we finally get the allegory of who set him up. If you watch What's the Dirt's breakdown, he says that Lucian was represented in that dinner scene. I actually will really buy into that theory, and I agree. I think Drake is going to make it even clearer to us what is being represented in all of these scenes. Now, what about the music? I think episode 4 is going to take a different direction musically. Episode 1, we got What Did I Miss? And we also heard some previews of some other songs, and those are all solos. Episode 2 was a bit different. We got a Central C freestyle in the middle of the episode, and we got Which One, which is a Central C feature. Episode 3, the song that he releases after, is Doghouse with Yeet. We also heard some other features in there, but there were some solo tracks. I believe all those features are going out the window for episode 4. If you pay attention to all the leaks that have taken place over the past 2 weeks, at first they weren't copyright stricken, but then they got taken down. Even my own video that I did got taken down by UMG, right? They copyright striked me. I think that tells us that Drake is listening to what people are saying, and he's listening to that feedback, and he knows what the people want, right? He knows people want to hear the specific music. When you hear National Treasure, he got great reception from it. Only pushback he got was, why is this a feature? We just want to hear Drake rap. We know that, the press is probably not going to be on the real song because Drake didn't shoot the video with him. He turned that video into no face. That tells me that he values these kinds of songs and he's not going to waste them with a feature. Even if the features could hang, he knows what people want and he's going to respond to that feedback. Features are out the window, especially if he's back in Toronto or Texas. I believe we are going to get the solo song. Another song that was hinted at or that we heard at the end of episode 3 was the ICEMAN intro, or what we're labeling the intro because of the song and the melody and just how grand it sounds. It's a beautiful sample, beautiful song. Maybe we get the intro. So I think all of those things are what we should look for musically. I believe we're going to get the rap record where Drake is just letting it fly at everybody. All of those things can be expected in episode 4. And I think he knows the songs that people want and he's listening to the feedback in real time, which is why this is so powerful. So while a lot of media members nitpick him and try to critique him for listening to feedback and not putting out full songs, this is a great way to roll the album out because you can hear from your fans, the people who matter the most, not the people who hate on you because they're going to hate regardless. Listen to the people who love the music and who appreciate you as an artist. But when will the episode release? We have to look at the calendar and look at some important dates here, right? We got to do some research. So we can look here and we can look at the most important date, and the date he probably cares about the most, and the only one on here he's likely concerned with is October 3rd, and that's Taylor Swift's release date with her album, The Life of a Showgirl. Now, Taylor has already put out the bundles. They've been for sale. Her fan base is massive, and Drake is on record saying that's the only person he would shift the date for. So we can X out October 3rd. But right after that, I think this is when we're going to get the episode. And my belief is if we get one more episode only, we're really going to be looking at a date around October 17th to the 24th, if we're going to get one episode. But if there's more, if there's between 4 to 6, I believe that it's going to happen between October 10th, October 24th, and it's going to take us all the way to October 31st. That would give Drake enough time to do 2 more episodes, show us the album title, work out if he's going to do bundles, which I believe he should. He has to get the business right with Amazon, get the business right on his website so he can go direct to consumer and make sure all of the back end logistics are right. You can't rush this. So I believe we're going to get 1 to 2 episodes likely in the month of October. He just has to wait for Taylor to drop, let the smoke clear a bit, get your songs together, make sure the team is tight, make sure nothing leaks, and then you can start rolling out for real and be ready to release around October 24th or October 31st. Now, I know a lot of people say, yeah, he's going to drop on his birthday. That makes a lot of sense, but maybe it makes way too much sense. Now, there's another theory here that I want to talk about, and that's he might not rush the album at all. With all of the leaks that are out there, there is a possibility. There's a possibility that he could do an EP or do a Scary Hours or do something where he gives us all of these Lucy's into one project. Because I don't buy in that, Doghouse. I don't think that Which One. I don't think those are going to be on the album. I don't even think What Did I Miss is going to be on the album. I think those are all songs where Drake is just showing love to his fans and putting out good music. So what if he packages those three along with some of the leaks and drops, just a small EP, 6 to 10 songs to hold the people over, and then Iceman doesn't really come out until November or December? I could easily see that happening. Because what if he packages those and makes it his album and it's his last album under UMG? That is a strong possibility. He could easily do that to try to get out the deal. And, I know he's in the middle of the lawsuit, so maybe he re-ups, maybe he adds an addendum where he gets some more money to release one more album. All of those things can happen. When you're dealing with an artist of this magnitude, it can get very complex very fast. So if he's ready to drop Iceman, because I believe the album is close to done, we're going to get the episode between the 10th and the 24th, and maybe the album on the 31st. But if there's a lot more to go and he has more stories to tell and we really do get 6 episodes, I could easily see this going into November or December. Someone with his work ethic will always want to add more to make this perfect. I think he understands the moment and he doesn't want to come up short. Now let's talk about some hidden theories. Now, before I get into this, I always have to shout out creators that I learned from and that I get inspiration from. So in my first ever video where I talked about this, I shouted out the creator Faison1010 because he's the first person who I saw discuss this theory and he deserves a lot of the credit. The next person I'm going to shout out is Licensed Drake and Driver. He is someone who came up with the theory or who noticed something that maybe we weren't in the red phase in episode 3. There's a possibility that we were in the yellow phase. And I'm going to put this up right here. So we do see the blue, we do see the green, and we do see red. But the outline of that red is in yellow. And look at some of the images from episode 3. You're going to see there is a strong highlight of yellow throughout the episode. Yellow and red. So there's a possibility that we are in the transition phase before Drake fully goes into this red mode. And I believe the red is going to represent anger, is going to represent revenge, where Drake just lets loose. Now that would align with my theory that we're going to get a straight rap song with no features at all. So this could be true that there's more colors and we might have been ignoring it from the beginning. So shout out to, those creators because they put that on my radar and I think those things hold weight. And anybody out here who calls it crazy or who talks about, oh, Drake fans are going crazy because they're just making up these theories and they want to be fake deep. Well, it's confirmed, buddy. And we were right. So all of these things that we've been talking about for over a year have come to fruition. Is it because Drake's just been listening and his creative director's like, hey, these fans are onto something, so let's give them what they want? That's a possibility. But if you look at the Instagram and the track record, all of these things have been aligned and have been plotted out for a long time. Plot twist. So let's lay it out one more time. I believe we are going to get episode 4 sometime between October 10th and the 24th. I believe we will get the setting of either Los Angeles, Houston, or Toronto. This episode will focus more on the storytelling and will reveal some secrets. And musically, we are going to get Drake rapping with no features, straight bars. That is my prediction. I think we're going to get some more of the color stuff too. Maybe we'll see a lot more red. I believe we're going to get the album either late October. And if it's not out by late October, I'm going to be looking more towards November and December. And I hope my theory and my prediction about him working with Amazon to get those bundles out comes true, because I think that's going to be one of the major moves in the music industry that's going to shake the game. So you let me know. Do you think Drake is going to end with this episode? Is it just episode 3? Is it going to be episode 4? Or is he building towards more? What do you think of the rollout as a whole? Are you happy with it? Are you upset with it? I want to hear your thoughts. And whatever you say, I'm gonna debate you in the comments. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know I'm always ready to engage and ready to have some good dialogue when it comes to music, when it comes to theories, and when it comes to whoever your favorite artist is. So I hope you liked the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, send it to a family member. Let's continue to grow this. 10K, subs, that's on my mind, but you guys are telling me I could have more. So maybe we get to 100K soon. But I wouldn't have any of this without you all. So I appreciate you. I thank you for staying to the end, and thank you for watching. Salute.